Have you ever felt that sudden spike of adrenaline when someone cuts you off with a sarcastic remark? That flush of heat when a colleague rolls their eyes at your idea? Or the tightening in your chest when a subtle put-down lands right in front of a group? It's a moment we all know, the urge to snap back, to defend, to fight fire with fire. But what if the most powerful move you could make wasn't a comeback, but a calculated silence? Welcome to INVICTUS X. Today, we aren't just talking about ignoring the haters, we're talking about dismantling their power entirely, using ancient wisdom that is more relevant now than ever before. We live in a loud world. It often feels like the person who shouts the loudest wins the argument. But if we look back at the Stoics, men like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, we find a different truth. These men lived through brutal times of political betrayal, exile, and war, yet they mastered a skill that most of us struggle with daily: emotional impermeability. The core of Stoicism isn't about having no emotions, it's about not being enslaved by them. As the video highlighted, the central lesson is the dichotomy of control. You cannot control the event, the insult, but you have absolute sovereign power over your judgment of that event. Here is how you can apply these 5 Stoic attitudes to not just survive disrespect, but to turn it into an opportunity for personal mastery.
Attitude 1. The conscious pause. Don't react immediately. The most dangerous moment in any conflict is the first second. When someone disrespects you, your brain's amygdala, the ancient threat detection center, wants to hijack your behavior. It screams fight or flight. This is why we say things we regret. We hand over our dignity on a silver platter because we are reacting, not responding. The Stoics mastered the conscious pause. This isn't just about counting to 3, it is a mental buffer zone. Imagine Luke. He's in a meeting and Mark, a competitive coworker, makes a joke about Luke's lack of experience in front of the boss. The old Luke would have snapped, "At least I actually finish my projects, Mark," causing a scene that makes Luke look unstable. But Luke has been practicing the pause. He feels the anger rising, the heat in his neck. He takes a breath. In that silence, he realizes Mark's comment is a bait. By not biting, Luke transforms the energy in the room. He looks at Mark, calm and unbothered. The silence stretches. Mark shifts uncomfortably. Luke has won without saying a word. The one who controls the timing controls the power. By pausing, you signal that you are not a puppet to be pulled by someone else's strings.
Attitude 2. Weaponize your serenity. Have you ever tried to argue with a whisper? It's nearly impossible. Disrespect often feeds on resistance. When someone raises their voice, they subconsciously expect you to match their volume. It's a primitive dominance dance. If you match their energy, you step into a minefield where everyone gets hurt. Instead, use serenity as a blade. It cuts deeper than shouting ever could. When you keep your voice steady, low, and slow, you force the aggressor to do one of 2 things: continue shouting and look like a maniac, or lower their voice to match yours. It's a psychological checkmate. Consider John, a community leader mentioned in our source material. He faced constant heckling. Instead of shouting over the crowd, he would wait for a breath, then speak in a normal, conversational tone. "I hear your frustration. Shall we look for a solution?" The contrast is jarring. The aggressor is ready for a fight, not a collaboration. The wind is taken out of their sails immediately. As Seneca wisely noted, calm words carry the weight of authority. Shouting only carries the weight of insecurity.
Attitude 3. The fortress of indifference. This is perhaps the hardest but most rewarding attitude. We often think indifference means being cold or aloof. In Stoicism, indifference is a filter. It asks, does this affect my character or just my ego? Modern society conditions us to defend our image at all costs, but the Stoic realizes that an insult is merely an opinion, and opinions are wind. Amanda, a teacher, used to go home exhausted every day, analyzing every snide comment from her department head. She was letting external events dictate her internal peace. Then she applied the filter of indifference. One morning, she received a passive-aggressive email copying the principal, criticizing her lesson plan. Instead of typing a furious reply, she sat back. She asked herself, is the criticism true? No. Does it stop me from being a good teacher? No. She didn't reply to the drama, she simply continued to do excellent work. By treating the disrespect as noise rather than signal, she starved the fire of oxygen. This aligns with timeless Stoic wisdom found in modern interpretations. As noted in a highlight on GLASP, Stoic philosophy emphasizes a proper response to events as a key to well-being. It is not the event that hurts us, but our judgment of it. When you remove the judgment that this is an insult, you are left with mere words, harmless and soundless.
Attitude 4. Excellence is the only response. There's a temptation to prove the disrespecter wrong through argument. I am smart. I am valuable. But if you have to say it, you aren't showing it. The Stoic approach is excellence in silence. Let your competence be so undeniable that it suffocates their criticism. Ryan, a young architect, was constantly belittled by a senior partner who called him a rookie. Ryan never argued. Instead, he channeled that frustration into his blueprints. He double-checked every measurement. He refined every design. He stayed late, not to please the boss, but to perfect his craft. Eventually, the clients started asking for Ryan specifically. The senior partner's insults didn't stop because he became a nicer person. They stopped because they became ridiculous in the face of reality. When your work shines, you don't need to hold a flashlight to it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you. If they are petty, be grand. If they are lazy, be diligent. If they are loud, be effective." Attitude 5. The mirror of self-knowledge. Finally, we must look in the mirror. Why did that specific comment hurt you? Usually, disrespect stings because it touches a wound that is already there. If someone calls you a purple elephant, you don't get angry because you know it's not true. But if they call you incompetent and you secretly fear you aren't good enough, that burns. Julia, a doctor, realized she crumbled under criticism because she suffered from imposter syndrome. The disrespect from others was just an echo of the disrespect she showed herself. She began a practice of self-inquiry. What am I feeling? Where does this come from? By understanding her own triggers, she built an invisible armor. When you know who you are, your strengths, your flaws, your values, no one can define you from the outside. You become a fortress. The world will not stop testing you. Tomorrow, you might face a rude barista, a toxic family member, or a troll in the comments section. You cannot force them to be kind. You cannot force them to be fair. But you have the tools. You have the pause, the serenity, the indifference, the excellence, and the self-knowledge. Remember, peace does not come when the world falls silent. Peace comes when you find the silence within yourself, regardless of the noise outside. That is true power. That is the way of the Stoic. This is INVICTUS X. We want to build a community of resilient minds here. Which of these 5 attitudes is the hardest for you to master? Is it the pause or perhaps the indifference? Tell us your story in the comments below. Let's share our habits and learn from each other. If this video added value to your day, share it with a friend who needs to reclaim their power. Stay strong, stay stoic.